Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SS United States channel, where we talk about the SS United States. Now, as you can see, we are doing another tier list. I mean, it was the first the first video, the first two videos I made on the channel. No, no, I made the first video, and then the two videos after I did a tier list. Um, yeah, as you guys know, I'm a maritime historian and a regular historian, so I thought we would do like a good tier list on the presidents of the United States. Now, if you guys didn't know, I am in the United States, so I do know a lot about these guys, and since I'm a historian, I do know a lot about these guys. And this is definitely going to be a two-parter, possibly, depending on how much I talk into these guys. Now, the only two presidents we are going to exclude from this list are Joe Biden and Trump, because I am not going to get into all that political stuff, and I'm just not. Guys, I want to keep it, fairly normal, no biased, a little bit of bias, of course. Everyone is a little bit biased, and this is on my opinion. But yeah. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So of course, we're gonna go in order from first to last president. Of course, starting with George Washington, 100% S tier. Following the Revolutionary War, led the country through its first period. It chose to not be a monarchy and chose to only serve 8 years, being the standard, and not being just being someone who, like later presidents, who would just take their power into other hands. But really sad story of how George Washington really wanted to just be, after the Revolutionary War, just wanted to be a regular guy on his house in Mount Vernon. But then they called him back to the presidency, and then he got sick afterward and never was able to get that life. But yeah, no one can. It's not really fair because no one else could really live up to George Washington. But hey, he is still, of course, an S tier. Second president, John Adams. He is definitely not an A or B, but C. Now, I know this is already going to be controversial, but with the Alien Sedition Acts and other acts that allow the president to basically be almost racist to others, something that Woodrow Wilson would later use. Sure, some would be repealed later, some of these acts, but not all of them. So it was just a really bad act that John Adams insisted. Sure, he was one of the founding fathers. I believe he was one of the founding fathers, and signed the Declaration of Independence, but just he's not like up there. Thomas Jefferson, definitely an A tier president. Signed the Louisiana Purchase, literally doubling the size of our nation, giving the middle part. Definitely not the best president. Sure, he did have good foreign policies with other nations, like the French Empire with Napoleon, but he was not the best president. Some slaves and all that. Sure, Washington had slaves, but not nearly treated them like Jefferson was. But Jefferson's an A tier. He's not bad. He's not bad. James Madison is also, I would say, a both borderline A tier, but I'm gonna put him in B tier. Now, he did do well with the War of 1812 and the how he was the last president to actually lead troops on the battlefield in person. But how he declared war on Britain was also kind of reckless. I'm sure Napoleon was happy about that. But he did do well with that and did lead into the happy era of presidents. Yeah. Sorry, I just spaced out for a second. The Monroe Doctrine was not the. I'm gonna put Monroe in B. The Monroe Doctrine was not the best. It was a really good law, but it wasn't the best law. It basically said we're not going to involve Europe, but you guys cannot involve both of the Americas, South America and North America, because of Africa. Now, I forgot what the law is called, but it was the law where the southern states would not be able to have states above the north line, and only in the south, which only kicked down the can for the Civil War to eventually happen. So for that, I gotta put him in B, not A. I just can't put him in A. John Quincy Adams is also a C, just like his father. He was not the best president. He didn't do a lot, but he also didn't do little. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention about this Monroe. This is why he's in B and not C. His era was literally called the Happy Era. I mean, come on, talk about that. Um, but yeah, so his was not that bad. But John Quincy Adams, like I said, didn't do a lot, but also didn't do that much. So he's just average C. Andrew Jackson is a president that is both C or D. He was not good or bad, kind of racist, kind of, not a lot, but kind of racist. So for that, I'm gonna put him in D. Don't hate on me, but I'm gonna put him in D, not F, because how he handled the Bank Act with getting rid of basically the National Bank and other acts. I mean, like, it wasn't the best acts of the presidency. Martin Van Buren, same thing with D or C. He's basically John Quincy Adams. He didn't do anything. William Harrison is a D only because he served basically 30 days as president. He didn't do because of a lot of people say it's because of that speech where he gave the longest inauguration speech, being an hour and I believe 15 minutes. But no, it is not even. It wasn't really his fault, but he died from pneumonia. But it wasn't. It's speculated it was from the actual drinking water, and not being poisoned. It was actually drinking water that would actually come and take Zachary Taylor and later James K. Polk. It's believed that because he died 3 months after presidency. John Tyler took over the presidency after Harrison died. Same with Martin Van Buren. See, we have a lot of presidents that just didn't do anything or just mid. And John Tyler is one of them. James K. Polk is definitely a honest A-tier president. A-tier president. Honest guy. He said he would only be president for one term. Did it. How he handled the Mexican-American War. Amazing. James K. Polk is honestly a very underrated president, and a lot of people need to acknowledge that. Zachary Taylor died, like I said, 1 year into his term. It's believed that it was poisoned, but then examined in 1992, I believe, by his family, and it showed no signs of poison. So it's believed the same thing that killed Harrison. So for that, I'm gonna have to put him in D. No lower, no higher. Millard Fillmore, same thing as these presidents, didn't really do anything. Pierce, it's a very sad life with his son being decapitated basically in front of him on a train. I mean, he was basically an alcoholic, drank himself to death while in the office, and he just didn't do anything. The Nebraska-Kansas Act just also led to the Civil War again. So for that, I'm gonna have to put him in F, no higher. Same with Buchanan, didn't do anything, which is both good and bad. So I'm gonna put him in D because he didn't do anything, so it's both good and bad, but led to the Civil War. Lincoln, I think we all know where this is going. S tier, led us through the Civil War. Basically literally almost stopped the KKK group. He was just great president. He basically he just basically freed the slaves, brought the country back together. S tier. He would have done even better. Chances are he would have done even better if he wasn't assassinated in 1865. Johnson, I hate him. He's very racist. Extremely racist, probably the third worst president in American history, in my opinion. He's just that bad, guys. I'm sure all of you can agree with that. He's one of the worst presidents we've ever had. Grant is also a very underrated president, and he's going in top of B, borderline A. Now, Grant did lead through the Civil War prior to his presidency. He did also basically stop the KKK group with his Reconstruction acts and how nice he was, his civil acts as well. But yeah, you'll see that Grant as a dub. Rutherford B. Hayes is definitely C right here in front of Quincy Adams. He stopped the Reconstruction with Grant, but just like these presidents, didn't do much, but he did do some decent stuff. Right here we have James Garfield. 100% would have been a great president. For that, I'm gonna put him just under Grant. No, just under Monroe in B tier. Um, Again, great guy. Only served 4 months before getting assassinated. I mean, the doctors killed him basically. Um, but one of the probably our smartest president. He would have been a great guy. Would have been a great president. Chester Arthur didn't do really anything, but his time didn't allow him to do really anything. So yeah, Chester Arthur. All I remember that he did was just redo the White House, and that was about it. Grover Cleveland, we're gonna count this as his first term, and then that second term after Harrison right there. So we're gonna do. He was a top B tier, just under John Adams, top B tier. He did a lot. His economic policies were wonderful. Everything else was pretty good, but yeah, his economic policies and foreign policies were not bad. Benjamin Harrison, definitely a president who is a okay president. Grandson of William Harrison. He did a little bit, but like these other presidents, didn't do much. William McKinley, very underrated president, going right here. His signing with Guam and his handle of the Spanish-American War was great thing. Getting us Guam and all that. Foreign policies were pretty good. William McKinley's good. He's very underrated. Teddy Roosevelt is top A, borderline S tier. Great guy. Led us with the Spanish-American War, literally on the front. He literally chose to fight too. He wasn't forced or anything. And one of them, they literally just threw himself. The guy who literally he's the type of guy who would get shot and literally continue a speech after getting shot. So already there, he's an A tier president. All right, guys. So I'm gonna first end this part, and then we're gonna do a second part because of the time. So get back with you guys in the next video. Now, of course, guys, like I said, subscribe. Please see part 2, and I'll see you next time. Bye.